Hello, my name is RRICH, and today I am presenting Decision Making and Critical Skills, a presentation based off of the work that I've done this semester on a very important issue at my current employer. So to begin, in 2020, the world had a large pandemic happen to it that caused my particular employer much stress with its current system. The Butler Memorial Health System, a hospital which is run normally on a skeleton crew due to a decrease in staff, was hit with an overwhelming amount of patients that needing special care for the COVID-19 pandemic. Literally, hundreds of patients were in dire need of assistance, and there was not enough staff on hand to be able to handle the overflow on with a normal crew. We initially dedicated 3 floors of our hospital to handling just those affected with COVID-19, and that was when the pandemic was first announced. It caused an extremely difficult situation. However, on March 16th, Governor Tom Wolf issued a statewide shutdown of all non-essential businesses and limiting all non-essential staff to be restricted. In doing this, he made so that all casual employees of the hospital were also sent home, no longer allowed on premises unless seeking medical care. Unfortunately, a large portion of the hospital is made up of casual employees, which caused a tremendous amount of shortage of available staff to be able to handle the immense need of the patients. To help combat the new extreme need for care, the hospital needed to come up with a way to make sure that the staff was getting enough relief and the patients were getting the care that they needed. With the new limited crew of only full and part-time employees cutting up to approximately 40% of their usual staff, including maintenance mechanists, nurses, registration, dietary, and other critical departments, as well as members from the board of directors. The hospital established a committee to handling the COVID-19 crisis. After much brainstorming and back and forth ideas, they came up with 4 viable options. To come up with the best solution, several tools were used, including the 7-step decision-making process and the 5 why tool, as well as some fishbone diagrams to help narrow down exactly what the problem was and the best solutions to resolve it. Option 1, limiting patients admitted to the hospital. Option 2, hire a surplus of temporary staff to help battle the COVID crisis. Option 3, creating a COVID sanctuary. Option 4, promote all casual staff to full-time or part-time in hospitals. Rationalizing decisions. This page explains the pros and negatives of each choice that the committee had to choose from, like limiting patient access. It would limit non-essential services. Staff can be reassigned to different parts that allow them to be more effective. It's a cost-effective measure, and it's fast to implement. Negatives would be that the casual employees are still displaced and less income from other critical services. Temporary staff allows for extra needed staff, can pay less, and contract once the crisis ends. Negatives are casuals are still displaced, not fast to enable due to background checks. COVID-19 sanctuary. Pros would limit the possibility of spreading the illness and allow our staff to be dedicated and focused teams for the particular issues. However, the negatives would still be casuals are displaced, costs from creating an entirely new building, and not enough staff to handle separate locations. Promoting within, however, would be getting casuals back to work, fast implementation because they're already got their background checks, and it would be a widely accepted decision. The only negative to this would be the long-term cost. Weighted ranking. When making a decision that would most benefit the hospital, it was decided that we would use a decision matrix. Since the devil's advocate slide would actually stipulate that promoting within is the best option since it had more positives and less negatives, we decided to use the weighted matrix because it allows us to base more on things that are relevant to the running of a business, such as costs and viability for the future. Based off of the weighted decision matrix, the competency, quote unquote, how likely it will actually work, and the costs were the more important factors to the departments and the committee itself, making the decision to limit patient access the actual most beneficial solution. After selecting the resolution to limit patient access, implementing the steps was easy after creating and using the PDPC chart, which is the 5 major steps to complete the desired task, mostly wanting to focus on blocking entrances to limit patients that were coming in, establishing a strict no visitors policy, screening for symptoms to ensure that patients, when they arrived, would go to the correct location, increasing security, and limiting all available services such as elective surgery and optional therapies. This chart breaks down the process and alternatives to resolve any issues that may arise. After implementing the process, the COVID-19 committee was able to complete a stakeholder analysis and confirm that this resolution was able to not only be reduced our patients by half, but allowed us to dedicate our staff from other departments to focus on COVID-19 patients with resounding results. I would like to thank you for listening today. As you may have heard, we were able to actually implement this resolution into my current workplace. While we were doing these papers, I was actually a part of the committee that helped decide how we should handle. So this was a very important and actually very helpful process. I would like to again thank you and have a wonderful summer.